Welcome to Rare Breed Brotherhood. The scariest people are the ones who don't try to be. There's something about you that makes people uneasy, even if you don't intend it. You walk into a room, say nothing, and yet the air shifts. People can't quite put their finger on why, but they know you're different. You don't follow the usual social scripts. You don't need approval, small talk, or the fake warmth others rely on. You exist on your own terms, and that alone is enough to unsettle those who are used to controlling the narrative. But here's the thing, this isn't a flaw, it's a sign of strength. Sigma males are wired differently. While most people seek validation, you seek understanding. While others react, you observe. You don't play emotional games because you see straight through them. And that, my friend, makes you a mystery that people can't crack. Some will call you intimidating. Others will feel drawn to you but won't understand why. You may not even realize the effect you have. But make no mistake, your presence alone challenges the status quo, not because you try to, but because you simply are. So if you've ever felt like an outsider, like someone who doesn't quite fit but always stands firm, know this, you're not alone, you're just rare. And in a world full of noise, a man who moves in silence is the one they remember. Let's get started. Brothers. Number 1, they have an almost supernatural ability to sense lies. Most people catch lies after the damage is done, when the contradictions pile up, when the truth eventually slips out. A Sigma male? He sees through deception before the lie is even fully formed. Not because he's guessing, but because he's reading everything. It's not just the words someone says, it's how they say them. The slight hesitation before answering, the forced enthusiasm, the micro-expressions that betray discomfort. It's the way their breathing changes, how their eyes flicker for just a second too long. Sigma males don't just hear people, they dissect them. And that's what makes liars squirm. They can sense that something about him is different. He isn't nodding along blindly. He isn't taking their words at face value. He's studying, calculating, waiting. And the moment he senses a gap in logic, it's over. The eerie part? He doesn't always call it out. Sometimes he'll just sit back and let the liar keep talking, giving them more rope to hang themselves. Other times he'll drop a single question, one that subtly exposes the inconsistency, and watch them panic as they scramble to cover their tracks. But when he does confront it, it's brutal. He won't yell, won't get emotional. He'll simply state the truth in such a direct, unshakable way that the liar has nowhere left to run. And that's when people realize they were never fooling him, not for a second. This ability makes others deeply uncomfortable, especially those who rely on deception to manipulate or control situations. Because with a Sigma around, their tricks don't work, their masks crack, their confidence wavers, and they're left exposed, staring into the eyes of a man who saw through them the whole time. Number 2, they can withhold reactions until the perfect moment. Most people wear their emotions on their sleeves. They react instantly. Anger, frustration, nervousness, all spilling out in real time. But a Sigma male, he's built differently. He doesn't flinch, doesn't argue, doesn't let his emotions betray him. Instead, he absorbs everything, like a hunter tracking his prey, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. And that's what makes him so unsettling. People expect immediate reactions, a show of force, or at least some visible sign that their words or actions got to him. But they get nothing, just silence, indifference. Maybe a small smirk that says, "I see you, but I'm not moved." What they don't realize is that he's filing everything away, every lie, every manipulation, every attempt to provoke him. He doesn't forget, but he also doesn't waste energy on meaningless battles. He waits, and when he finally makes his move, it's devastating. Maybe it's a single, well-placed sentence that exposes someone's hypocrisy in front of an audience. Maybe it's an unexpected power move that renders their entire strategy useless. Or maybe it's his complete withdrawal, vanishing from their life, taking his value with him and leaving them scrambling to figure out what went wrong. Whatever his response is, it's never random, it's precise, unshakable, chilling. It lands with such force that people realize, in hindsight, he was always 10 steps ahead. And that's when the fear sets in. Because if he saw through them the entire time, were they ever really in control? Were they ever truly safe from his judgment? That's the kind of quiet power a Sigma male holds. He doesn't react, he calculates. And when the time is right, his response isn't just effective, it's unforgettable. Number 3, They carry an aura of mystery that can be downright haunting. Some people demand attention the moment they walk into a room. They fill the air with words, laughter, and exaggerated gestures, making sure everyone knows exactly who they are. A Sigma male, he does the opposite. He doesn't announce himself. He doesn't overshare. He simply exists. And yet somehow his presence lingers long after he's gone. It's not just what he says or does, it's what people can't figure out about him. Most people reveal themselves within minutes. Their opinions, insecurities, and social strategies all come spilling out through their words and actions. But a Sigma, he gives nothing away. He listens more than he speaks, observes more than he reacts, and carries himself with a calm detachment that makes people wonder what's going on beneath the surface. This unpredictability is what unnerves people the most. They don't know what he's thinking. They don't know how he feels. They don't know if he's analyzing them or completely uninterested. And because the human brain craves certainty, this lack of information becomes an obsession. They replay conversations in their head, searching for clues. They wonder if they made an impression on him or if he already forgot about them. They can't shake the feeling that there's more to him than what he lets on. Even after he leaves, his presence lingers. His self-sufficiency, emotional control, and refusal to play social games make him hard to categorize. And people hate what they can't categorize. They start asking themselves questions they don't usually ask about others. Who was he really? What was he thinking? Did he see through me? A Sigma male doesn't try to be mysterious. It just happens. His very nature makes him an enigma, a puzzle that people can't quite solve. And for some, that mystery is intriguing. For others, it's downright haunting. Number 4, they don't show fear, which unsettles people who thrive on control. Most people are predictable when faced with intimidation. They flinch at threats, react to pressure, or scramble to regain favor when someone disapproves of them. This is exactly how manipulators and control freaks keep their grip on others, through fear, whether it's subtle or overt. But a Sigma male, he doesn't play that game. Threats, guilt trips, silent treatment, or emotional outbursts, none of it works on him. He doesn't flinch, doesn't panic, doesn't scramble to prove himself. He simply stares back, unmoved. It's not arrogance or defiance, it's complete immunity to fear-based control, and that is terrifying to those who rely on it. When someone expects a reaction and gets nothing, they don't know what to do. Their usual tricks, raising their voice, making passive-aggressive comments, or using emotional blackmail, fall flat. The Sigma doesn't argue, doesn't plead, doesn't get rattled. He just waits, forcing the other person to sit with their own weakness. And that's when things get interesting. Because when a manipulator realizes they can't control him, they start to break down. They become erratic, doubling down on their tactics, only to fail even harder. Their carefully crafted sense of power begins to crumble because it was never real to begin with. It was always built on the reactions of others. This is what makes Sigmas so dangerous without even trying to be. They don't attack, don't intimidate, don't seek to dominate. They simply don't give fear in return. And in a world where control is often rooted in fear, that makes them untouchable. Most people don't realize how much their power depends on others playing along until they meet someone who refuses to. And when that moment comes, it's not the Sigma who crumbles. Number 5, they can go from invisible to intimidating in a flash. Most people walk into a room trying to be seen. They make noise, seek attention, and demand presence. A Sigma male does the exact opposite. He blends in so well that people barely register he's there. He observes, he absorbs, and he remains in the background until he decides not to. That's when everything changes. A Sigma's presence isn't something he forces, it's something people feel. One moment he's a shadow, letting the noise of the crowd wash over him. The next he steps forward and the entire energy in the room shifts. Conversations slow, eyes flick toward him. Even those who weren't paying attention before suddenly feel the weight of his presence. It's unsettling because no one saw it coming. What makes this even more spine-chilling is that he doesn't have to do anything loud or aggressive. He doesn't raise his voice, doesn't puff his chest, doesn't demand space. He simply exists in a way that commands attention. It's in the way he holds himself, the way he makes direct eye contact without blinking, the way he speaks only when necessary, but always with precision. This sudden shift from unnoticed to undeniable rattles people. They were comfortable when he was just an observer, assuming he was passive, unimportant, forgettable. But now, They realize he was choosing to be unseen, and that realization alone is enough to shake them. Because if he can control his presence this well, what else is he capable of? Some people respect it, others fear it, but no one ignores it. A Sigma doesn't seek to intimidate, but when he steps forward, when he decides to be seen, the impact is immediate. And once someone has felt that shift, they never forget it. Number 6, they read people like a post-mortem report. Most people listen to respond. Sigma males listen to analyze. It's not just about hearing words, it's about decoding the truth beneath them. While others take things at face value, a Sigma notices the hesitations, contradictions, and subtle tells that most miss. It's like watching someone perform an autopsy, not on a body but on a conversation, dissecting every movement, every tone shift, every flicker of doubt in a person's eyes. This is why people often feel uncomfortable around Sigma males without understanding why. It's not that he's doing anything obvious, it's that his presence alone makes them feel exposed. A simple glance from him feels like an X-ray scan, peeling back layers of pretense and revealing what someone is really thinking. He doesn't even have to call out a lie. The tension in the air when he's around is enough to make people stutter and over-explain themselves. It's not about playing mind games. A Sigma male isn't interested in manipulation. He just can't not see what's right in front of him. The nervous tapping of fingers, the forced smile that doesn't reach the eyes, the subtle shift in someone's voice when they're bending the truth. He catches all of it. This ability makes him both respected and feared. People who are honest appreciate his insight, knowing they don't have to fake anything around him. But those who rely on deception, they hate it. Manipulators feel powerless in his presence because their usual tricks simply don't work. He doesn't react emotionally, doesn't fall for flattery, and doesn't let sweet words cloud his judgment. This is why a Sigma male often finds himself in one of two positions. Either as the trusted confidant or as the silent threat no one wants to challenge. Either way, his ability to read people without even trying makes him someone you don't want to lie to because he already knows. Number 7, they can vanish without a trace, literally and figuratively. Most people need closure. They want final conversations, clear endings, and a sense of resolution before they move on. A Sigma male, he doesn't bother. If something or someone no longer serves him, he disappears. No warnings, no drawn-out explanations, just silence, and that's what makes it so unsettling. One day he's there, observing, engaging, fully present. The next, gone. No texts, no goodbyes, no dramatic exit. Just an empty space where he used to be. And the people left behind, they don't know what hit them. They replay every interaction, looking for clues. Did I say something wrong? Was he planning this the whole time? But that's the thing. He didn't leave because of them. He left because it was time. Sigma males don't hold on to relationships, routines, or environments out of obligation. When something no longer aligns with their path, they walk away. Not to hurt anyone, not to prove a point, but because they have no interest in wasting energy where it no longer belongs. It's not just physical disappearance either. A Sigma can be in the same room as someone and still feel unreachable. He has a way of disconnecting, mentally, emotionally, even spiritually, without ever announcing it. Conversations feel hollow. His responses become minimal, and before people even realize it, he's already gone in every way that matters. The scariest part? There's no way to bring him back. You can't guilt him, can't manipulate him, can't demand closure. He moves on without looking back, and that leaves people questioning whether they ever truly knew him at all. Because to a Sigma male, presence is a choice. And once he chooses to disappear, it's as if he never existed in the first place. Number 8, they never play the emotional game which drives manipulators insane. Manipulators are like puppeteers. They pull strings, push buttons, and thrive on controlling how people feel. They use guilt to make you comply, fear to keep you in check, and flattery to pull you closer. But when they come across a Sigma male, it's like trying to control a ghost. A Sigma doesn't give them what they need, a reaction, no frustration, no guilt, no visible discomfort. He doesn't fall for their sob stories, doesn't flinch at their threats, and doesn't feel the need to prove anything. He just watches. And that's what drives manipulators insane. They expect people to play along, to defend themselves, to argue back. But when a Sigma male responds with nothing but a calm, unreadable expression, it shatters their entire game. Suddenly, their usual tricks feel weak. Their ability to control the situation slips through their fingers. They start to panic. And this is where things get ugly. A manipulator who can't manipulate is like a caged animal. They grow desperate, reckless, even unhinged. They might lash out, doubling down on their tactics. They might try to provoke a reaction with insults, gaslighting, or emotional outbursts. But it doesn't work, because a Sigma knows the secret. The moment you react, you give them power. He refuses to engage, refuses to feed their ego, refuses to be drawn into a pointless battle. And when they realize they have nothing to hold over him, they break. Some storm off, humiliated. Others keep trying, throwing every manipulation tactic they have left, only to watch them fail one by one. Eventually they give up, walking away confused, angry, and powerless, because at the end of the day, a Sigma male isn't someone you control, he's someone you lose. Number 9, they make people feel exposed without saying a word. Some people dominate conversations with their words. They ask questions, dig for information, and push until they get a reaction. A Sigma male? He doesn't have to do any of that. He just stands there, watching, listening, absorbing. And somehow that alone is enough to make people unravel. It's not that he's trying to intimidate. It's just that his silence is too controlled, too deliberate. He doesn't interrupt, doesn't rush to fill awkward pauses, and doesn't offer meaningless affirmations just to make someone feel comfortable. He simply lets the silence stretch, and that's where people break. Most people aren't used to being truly observed. They're used to distractions, interruptions, and shallow engagement. But when a Sigma locks onto them with that quiet, piercing gaze, they start feeling stripped down to their core. They fidget, stumble over their words, and suddenly feel the need to explain themselves, sometimes even confess things they never intended to share. And the eerie part? He never asked for any of it. It's as if something about him pulls the truth out of people without effort. Maybe it's his ability to read micro-expressions, noticing the tiny hesitations and inconsistencies that betray hidden insecurities. Maybe it's the way he remains unaffected, giving them nothing to latch onto emotionally, forcing them to fill the void themselves. Or maybe it's just the sheer mystery of him, because the human brain craves certainty. It wants to categorize people, to predict how they think, to feel in control of interactions. But a Sigma, he refuses to be figured out. He doesn't give people what they expect, doesn't play into their social scripts, and doesn't offer any easy answers. And that's what gets under their skin. They walk away from conversations with him questioning themselves, wondering why they spilled so much, and feeling like they just exposed their soul to a man who never even asked. Number 10, they see through false confidence and social masks. Confidence is easy to fake. A loud voice, a firm handshake, a rehearsed smile, most people have learned how to play the part. But a Sigma male, he sees through the act like glass. While others are impressed by bravado and charm, a Sigma watches with detached curiosity. He doesn't care about how confidently someone speaks. He cares about the cracks in their performance, the hesitation before a bold claim, the slight overcompensation when someone brags, the way a person constantly looks around for approval after making a joke. These small tells give away what most people don't want to admit. They're wearing a mask. This makes a Sigma male deeply unsettling to those who rely on social performance. Manipulators, narcissists, and attention seekers thrive on the fact that most people can't tell the difference between real and fake confidence, but the Sigma can. He doesn't fall for status displays, forced charisma, or hollow declarations of self-assurance. He sees the insecurity buried beneath it all. And when he doesn't react the way they expect, when their tricks fail to sway him, they start to panic. That's why certain people find Sigmas intimidating without understanding why. It's not because he's aggressive, it's not because he's trying to expose them, it's because he simply doesn't buy into the illusion. And when someone realizes they can't manipulate or impress him, they feel vulnerable, unmasked. But for those who are truly secure, the Sigma's presence is refreshing. He respects genuine confidence, the kind that doesn't need an audience. He values those who are comfortable in their own skin without the need for approval. This is why Sigmas attract certain people and repel others. They don't seek to tear down social facades, but the fact that they exist outside of them is enough to make the insecure crumble. Number 11. They make people feel predictable. Most people believe they are complex, unpredictable, and unique in their actions. They think their choices, reactions, and words are spontaneous. But to a Sigma male, they're an open book. A Sigma sees patterns where others see randomness. He notices the way someone's tone shifts before they lie, the way their body language betrays nervousness, the way their eyes flicker before they change a subject. He doesn't just observe people, he decodes them, and the scariest part, he does it effortlessly. This is why conversations with a Sigma often feel unnerving to others. Before someone even finishes their sentence, he already knows where they're going with it. He cuts through the fluff, anticipates the excuses, and sometimes even answers questions before they're asked. It's as if he's been in this conversation before, because in a way he has. He's seen these patterns play out time and time again. People don't like feeling predictable. They like to believe they are full of mystery, that their emotions and decisions are spontaneous. But when a Sigma male interacts with them, they slowly realize he already knows what they're going to do before they do it. They feel exposed, like someone's pulling the strings of a game they didn't even know they were playing. It's not that he manipulates them. He doesn't need to. He simply sees through the illusion of unpredictability that most people hide behind. This ability makes some people deeply uncomfortable. It's why manipulators hate being around him, because their usual tactics fall apart when faced with someone who has already predicted their next move. But for those who are honest and self-aware, a Sigma's insight is something they come to respect. To him, human behavior is just another puzzle, one he's been solving his entire life. And the more someone tries to prove they're different, the more predictable they become. The power of being unshakable. A Sigma male doesn't set out to be intimidating. He's not chasing attention, dominance, or control. He simply exists in a way that unsettles those who rely on illusion, manipulation, or shallow connections. His independence isn't just physical, it's psychological. He can't be swayed by fake confidence, controlled by emotions, or deceived by smooth talk. And that, in a world built on social games, is terrifying to those who play them. But here's the truth. This isn't a burden, it's a gift. Your ability to see beyond masks, to stay unshaken in chaos, to move without needing approval, that's what makes you formidable. Not everyone will understand it. Some will feel uneasy around you, others will try to challenge you, and a few will even resent the fact that you can walk away without hesitation. Let them, because the ones who do understand, they'll respect you. The rare few who move with the same quiet strength will recognize you as one of their own. And the rest? They were never meant to keep up with you anyway. Keep being the storm that no one sees coming, the presence that lingers long after you're gone, the one who moves in silence but is remembered in echoes. You don't need validation, you don't need permission, and you damn sure don't need to explain yourself. A Sigma doesn't adapt to the world adapts to him. Thank you for watching. God bless you.